Hello, third graders. It's Mr. Bowlby here, back to get back into the solar system unit we are in, talking about lesson 3, our solar system part 2. We're going to dive deeply, well, not deeply, we're going to dive into the solar system a little bit more and go over the planets. As you have been researching some of them, hopefully, you'll know a little bit more as we go. All right, so let's start here with our PowerPoint. Our solar system, part 2. Some vocabulary words for you to remember, to jot down. Dense, frigid, greenhouse, NASA, and polar. How many planets are in our solar system? 8. Can you name the 8 planets in order from the sun? Starting with Mercury, all the way to Neptune. Good job. Remember, many very energetic mermaids swam under Neptune. I think that's what it was. What other celestial bodies can be found in our solar system besides the sun and its planets? Several. Talked about those all last time. What is the difference between a meteoroid, a meteorite, and a meteor? Its location, from the sky into the atmosphere to the Earth. And a dwarf planet, we went over that as well. Talked about celestial body that orbits the sun but not cleared its orbit of debris. The atmosphere of a planet, how does it affect a planet? It's a blanket of gas that surrounds the planet, holds the heat in. Some of them have dense, thick atmospheres like Venus. Some of them don't have atmospheres at all, like Mercury. Would you like to take an out of this world trip? Over the next few days, we are going to go on an exciting tour of space in our very own classroom spaceship. The only luggage you will need to take with you on this adventure is your imagination. Are you ready? Let's buckle up and get ready for takeoff. We'll start by traveling to the planet that is closest to the sun, Mercury. As we approach the planet, you will see many craters on its surface. These are the result of hundreds of meteoroids hitting the surface of the planet. You'll probably notice right away how small it is compared to our planet Earth. At 1/3 the diameter of Earth, Mercury is the smallest planet in our solar system. It's certainly hot here. Our spaceship is reading the surface temperature as being 750 degrees Fahrenheit. The side of Mercury that is facing the sun is very hot. But the side of the planet that is facing away from the sun, the dark side of Mercury, is frigid, dropping to a negative 300 degrees Fahrenheit. Brrr. Hard to imagine being as cold as 300 degrees below zero. You might have guessed that Mercury gets very hot during the day because it is so close to the sun. But why does it get so cold at night? It's because Mercury has no real atmosphere, even though there are occasionally a few gas particles around the planet. Without a real atmosphere, there's nothing to trap the sun's heat to make it stay warm on the side of the planet that's not facing the sun. Smallest planet in our solar system. Mercury makes its orbit very quickly around the sun. 1 planetary year on Mercury is only 88 Earth days. That means it only takes Mercury 88 Earth days to orbit around the sun one time. But even though Mercury's years are short, it rotates very slowly on its axis, so its days are very long. 1 day on Mercury takes about 58 Earth days. How would you like to have the sun set and have it stay dark for about a month's worth of Earth days before the sun rises again? Good thing it's time to leave Mercury and head for the second planet from the sun in our solar system, Venus. The first thing you will notice about Venus is that, besides being Earth's closest neighbor, it is practically the same size as Earth. Like Earth, Venus also has an atmosphere. But unlike Earth, the atmosphere of Venus is made up of very thick gases, including lots of carbon dioxide. Venus's thick, cloudy atmosphere is also very dense, with 90 times the pressure or heaviness of the Earth's atmosphere. Venus is actually hotter than Mercury, more than 850 degrees Fahrenheit. Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system. The reason it is hotter than Mercury is that Venus's atmosphere creates a greenhouse effect. which means its dense atmosphere acts like a thick blanket, trapping the sun's heat at the surface of the planet. This causes the planet's surface temperature to rise because the heat can't easily escape into space. Venus is called Earth's sister planet. Why do you think it was called this? They are similar in size and location. Carbon dioxide is one of the gases that people and animals on Earth breathe out and that plants take in. Mercury is closer to the sun than Venus, so you would think that Mercury would be more, but Mercury doesn't have the atmosphere Venus does. Now, Venus's atmosphere is similar to the plastic or glass covering of a greenhouse, which traps the heat energy from the sun. The next stop on our tour of our solar system is home sweet home, Earth, the third planet from the sun. From way out here in space, it looks different from all the other planets. Planet Earth appears as a swirl of blue, white, and green. They store water-filled oceans, the clouds of our atmosphere, and the green of the plants growing on our planet. It looks bright and glowing and alive. We live on a very beautiful planet. Let's zoom past Earth and head toward the fourth planet from our sun in our solar system, the red planet, Mars. Mars is the last of the 4 rocky planets in our solar system. As soon as you see it, you know why it's called the red planet, because it really is reddish. The red color is caused by the presence of rust on the surface rocks. Even though Mars is only half the size of Earth, it still takes about 24 hours for it to rotate on its axis. So a day on Mars is nearly the same length as a day on Earth. Like Earth, the red planet has an atmosphere and even polar ice caps made of frozen water. But the thing that really may catch your eye as we get closer to our solar system's tallest volcano, Olympus Mons, which is 3 times as high as Mount Everest, Earth's tallest mountain. That's right, Mars has the tallest volcano in our entire solar system, much larger than any here on the planet Earth. As we prepare to leave the Martian orbit, we will pass by its 2 moons, Phobos and Deimos, which, why such funny names? The planet Mars was named for the Roman god of war, Mars, who's called Ares by the ancient Greeks. Phobos and Deimos were Ares' 2 sons, which also the names of the 2 moons of Mars are also fear and panic. It's pretty funny. Interesting. Okay, so we have to go through the asteroid belt to get from Mars to Jupiter, the 5th planet from the sun. The distance between Mars and Jupiter is more than 3 times the distance we've traveled so far. Do you see Jupiter? There's no way you could miss it if you tried. Remember, Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system and is absolutely gigantic. It's so big that more than 1,300 Earths can fit inside it. Did you know Jupiter has rings? Saturn is famous for its beautiful rings, and Jupiter has them too. In fact, all 4 gas giants in our solar system, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, have rings, though the rings are not visible in many images you see of Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune. You may be wondering if we can land on the surface of Jupiter. Like the other gas giants, there's not a solid surface to land on, just hundreds of miles of gas, below which is a sea of liquid hydrogen. Besides, Jupiter's atmosphere is extremely cold, stormy, and windy. These storms are what gives Jupiter that marbled appearance. Do you see that giant spot on its side? That's called the Great Red Spot. It is a gigantic storm that's bigger than the entire Earth. There's no way we could land a spaceship there. Let's take a look at some of Jupiter's moons. Scientists have discovered more than 60 moons so far, so there are many to choose from. Here are 4 moons discovered years ago by Galileo Galilei. A scientist, I know I'm not pronouncing his name right, but okay, a scientist you will hear more about later. Their names are Callisto, Ganymede, Lo, and Europa, made of materials ranging from frozen, iced, molten, or melted rock. These natural satellites have amazing sights, which include frozen oceans and volcanoes. Are you ready to head to the next planet, Saturn? Here we come! The distance we must travel to get to the sixth planet from the Sun in our solar system, Saturn, is about the same distance it took for us to get from Mars to Jupiter. It's far. Like Jupiter, Saturn is another gas giant, and its atmosphere has winds that are even stronger than hurricane winds on Earth. But what may take your breath away is the sight of its rings. They are absolutely beautiful. You might be surprised to learn that Saturn's rings aren't solid. They're made up of millions of pieces of rock and ice. Astronomers believe the debris in some of Saturn's rings is held in place by a combination of the pull from Saturn and the pull from Saturn's many moons. The moons that are believed to help hold some of the Saturn's outermost rings in place are called shepherd moons. Time to head to the seventh planet from the Sun in our solar system, Uranus. If you thought the trip between Jupiter and Saturn was far, then you may want to sit back and take a nap. The space between the planets gets bigger out here, where the gas giants are. Uranus is about twice as far from the Sun as Saturn is. No wonder astronomers didn't discover Uranus until after the telescope was invented. It's a long way away from Earth. It took NASA spacecraft Voyager 2 12 years to get to Uranus from Earth. NASA is an acronym that stands for the National Aeronautic and Space Administration, the part of the U.S. government in charge of space and science, technology, and exploration. A lot of technology and innovations have come out of NASA. You'll want to check that out. Good thing our special class or spaceship goes faster than Voyager 2, or we'd be out in space a long time. As we approach Uranus, you may be wondering why it appears to be rolling on its side. The poles of Uranus are in a different position than the poles of other planets. Uranus's axis is tilted a little more to its side than other planets in our solar system. Many scientists think the axis became so far tilted during a collision that happened when the solar system was forming. Like other gas giants, Uranus also has rings and moons, though the rings are not easy to see like Saturn's rings. After that long trip from Saturn to Uranus, you may be wondering how far away the next planet is. It's just a little farther than the last leg of our trip from Saturn to Uranus, which to say is very, very far. When I say a leg of a trip, I'm talking about this section of a trip. So what would the last leg of a trip mean? And how would you refer to the beginning of the trip? First leg, middle leg, last leg? Basically just segments of your trip, broken down. Finally, we have arrived at the last planet, eighth from the Sun in our solar system, Neptune. Even though astronomers knew a celestial object was there before they identified it, the planet Neptune was discovered fewer than 200 years ago in 1846. It is the last of the four gas giants in our solar system. Neptune has two rings around it that are hard to see, many fewer than Saturn. Scientists don't know as much about Neptune as they do about some of the other planets. It's hard to study because it's so far away. Astronomers think Neptune has at least 13 moons. Like Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune doesn't have a solid surface to land on, making it a bad place for spaceship landings. You may remember from the ancient Roman civilization domain that Neptune was the Roman god of the sea, similar to the Greek god Poseidon. Do you think we could land on Neptune? Who remembers what those four outer planets are called? Gas giants. You want to learn more about the ancient civilization, mythological gods and goddesses, you can learn a lot from Rick Riordan's book, The Lightning Thief, and Percy Jackson novels. Those are all really good. Let's look beyond the last planet, Neptune, farther out into space. Objects beyond our 8 planets are called trans-Neptunian. Here is where we find the dwarf planet, Pluto. Still a planet to me, but okay. There are many other trans-Neptunian celestial bodies in our solar system, even farther away than Pluto, that astronomers are only beginning to discover. The distances in space between these objects are astronomical. Beyond our solar system, there's a whole neighborhood of stars. Beyond that neighborhood of stars, there are billions of other neighborhoods of stars. Why, there's a whole universe out there just waiting for us to learn about. Now remember, some information in here, including information about Pluto, can change as scientists continue to discover new things, as astronomers continue to discover space, because that's how science works. You have observations, you have theories, hypotheses, all that stuff. And things can change as new information comes in, as they discover new things. That's the beauty of science, is discovery. Things change. Who remembers some things about Pluto? What does the term astronomical probably mean? Remember, we talked about Pluto. It's no longer considered a planet to scientists, at least according to the data that I've got right here. They may be changing it again. It just depends. Again, things change in science, astronomy. But we do remember in 2006, either way, it was reclassified as a dwarf planet. So here's some review questions for you to remember to go through about the planets and the solar system that we went over. You may want to jot down some of those. We will have a discussion post question, and we'll not have a new assignment. You're just going to continue working on the one from yesterday to do a research on NASA's website or any other kind of book you can find about the planets that you might get information from. Encyclopedias are very helpful. Don't really like Google so much. Wikipedia is definitely not a solid source for information, people. And always take notes on where you found the information, because if there's one thing Mr. Bowlby has stressed throughout the school year, is that you need to cite your sources where you get information from. All right. And then comparing and contrasting Earth and Venus, those are important things to remember to do. Keep scrolling through here so you can see what I wrote down, because again, it's hard to condense a whole long day's hour and a half lesson, and I don't want you guys to be overwhelmed with it. So this is just for your information, because I want you to know about it. There's Pluto, or not Pluto, Jupiter, talking about the Great Red Spot, the gigantic storm. Whew, it's very windy on Jupiter. Comparing and contrasting Saturn and Neptune. Okay. Yep. I love Saturn so much, you put a ring on it. Okay, that's a bad joke. What characteristics makes Uranus unique in our solar system? It's way out there, and it's tilted on its side, right? Its axis is tipped far to the side. You may sometimes see Uranus with rings around it in pictures that go up and down, opposed to left and right, or east and west. Why is Pluto reclassified as a dwarf planet? Because the astronomers don't like me now. Obviously, the criteria that they have for identifying a planet. They have their rules, they have to stick to them. So, anyway, the acronym for NASA, it's a good one to remember. What NASA does, a lot of stuff. We also learned the sun is the constant source of heat and light. All of the planets get their heat and light from the sun in our solar system. Some planets are too far away to get a lot of the heat, though. All right. The question I'll be asking you is about space exploration, so you'll be answering that in the discussion post. There's a little bit of word work on the word frigid for you to look at. Okay. And we're not going to do this. What does frigid mean? Different antonyms and synonyms to the word.